I'm thinking of starting a podcast interviewing insurance industry leaders about risk management. I'm not sure if it'll be too dry or what questions would keep listeners engaged. Ideas. I think that sounds pretty boring to me. I do. But I'm a business owner. I'm a marketer. I work for lawyers. I am not the target audience. So I consume content about marketing, the legal industry, running a business. But your market is senior insurance executives. They probably do the same, but they will do it for the insurance industry. So I think they will be interested in what you have to offer. And you've mentioned a podcast, and I think that's a really good thing to do. We're going to cover maybe some other things you can do as well. But they are likely to be listening or watching or reading information about the insurance industry. I don't think there's any question about that. So in terms of a plan, you asked for some ideas. Well, so if we go to a plan, you've got the target market is insurance companies and the professionals, specialists in risk management. You've got guests. So the plan you have is you've got guests, and I think that can make it more engaging sometimes, also a little less pressure on you. In terms of length, well, I think it's a common question we get is how long should it be? And I think it depends on the format. So let's move to the format and come back to length. For the format, I would actually recommend that you do video as a starting point. And you can do that over Zoom, or you can do it on Riverside. We use Riverside for these videos. The recording quality is better. But the reason for doing video is that it can then be repurposed very easily into a podcast, but also into an article, into social media posts, email marketing, communications, and so forth. The video can then also be embedded on your website. And the reason for repurposing in those kind of ways is that people consume content differently. Like some people prefer to watch things, some like to listen, some like to read, and so forth. But I think if you get that video from the outset, it becomes kind of your base. And then you can do all the repurposing after that. In terms of length, with video in mind and then with podcasts and articles and so forth in mind, I would suggest making it no longer than 20 minutes. There's a lot of research to suggest that the average commute time is about 20 minutes. And this type of thought leadership content is often consumed when like people are on the go. So they're either commuting or they're exercising. It's kind of like somewhat passive. They're doing something else at the same time. In terms of topics, so some ideas for topics. I don't know enough about the insurance industry necessarily to give you those kind of explicit topics that you might want to cover, but to help you generate some ideas, it'd be thinking about, well, what are your goals? Is it like you want to be a thought leader? Is it it's an excuse to reach out to industry people with like an invite. Hey, please come on my podcast. And it's a really good strategy, by the way. It's much better than just asking them for a coffee. Think about your exact audience and how experienced are they. So like the content needs to be kind of at that level. If they're like C-suite executives, well, it needs to be kind of pitched at that level. If they're juniors, well, then obviously it needs to be pitched at that level. I would, in terms of like generating ideas, a simple question I've found that works really well is, well, what do they want to know? But the answer to that is like everyone wants to know what everyone else is doing. So if you can kind of make each topic about uncovering that in some way, like finding out what everyone else is doing, I've found that's always like a winning formula. So to wrap that up, my advice would be to think about your goals. I think commit to a series. So maybe something like 6 episodes and see how it goes. When you launch, try and launch with at least, say, 3 episodes in your back catalogue. It's going to make you feel a little more in control and it'll make things feel like a little less urgent.